Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we can see you. We can hear you. We're very happy to do that. You know, everybody, Roberto and Steve, actually, they were a great team. uh, Here, they came together twice, right? Also to meet in
Yes,
person with our department,
really.
and it was really nice times. And now you can start, and we will have time, I hope, for discussion a little later.
Yes, thank you, Snishana. Good evening to everybody. Hi, Steve and everyone. So I will try to share my screen.
Yep, you can see it.
Okay, just a moment for a full screen. Okay. So, I'm Roberto Bruni from University of Cassino in Southern Lazio, Italy. And I'm presenting this work that I developed with my friends Anarita Colamatteo and Marianna Pagnanelli from the same university. And the title is The New Normal for Universities, the On-Life Approach. I think that this is in line with what Steve said before, because my focus is on relationships between people, place, universities, and knowledge. So COVID-19 pandemic has been stressing the whole world since the beginning of 2020, and the situation is continuously changing, as you know, and at the end of the year, we are still experiencing a generalized and stressful period of uncertainty. Each country has tried to find a way to cope with the sanitary emergency by alternating different types of norms and restrictions over time. Pandemic stimulated universities to increase the percentage of online relationships between students, professors, and researchers. Even my university in Italy is working a lot with online activities like online lectures, meetings, events for students enrolled and or not enrolled, with good results in terms of feedbacks, but we think that this is not enough for a traditional university, because we know that at the same time, online universities haven't great problems, and generally they are able to continue their activities with their online students. Some traditional, or as I explained this in this presentation, I call on place the traditional universities are currently working a lot, improving the online competencies, but probably the strongest effort should be managed in order to integrate online and offline activities, connect people to the place where the university is, providing a full immersion, even using online means. So when I say people, I'm talking about students, professors, and direct and indirect stakeholders. Some questions drive our speech in order to understand how traditional universities could manage their activities after pandemic, considering the new normal, and in particular, analyzing worst and best practices of experiences in applying the online tools to the traditional universities. So the concept of on life could be useful to explain how traditional universities could integrate the activities with a clear vision, because in the future people will always be connected to the web, and it will be always difficult to divide the online activity by the traditional or on place one. On life is a new word coined by Luciano Floridi. The word explains that on life is a condition where life of people, their choices and experiences are mediated and influenced by systemic integrated effects generated by online and offline means and experiences. For example, Floridi says that our offline and online experiences and lives are inextricably woven. In the work On Life Manifesto, it is explained how our life is strongly influenced by online means and technologies. We think this concept could be useful to explain how universities can help people, for this reason, students, professors, stakeholders, to have a full immersion in the real life of the locale where the university is placed, and at the same time to have support by online technology to understand, interact, create, and manage experiences, both in the web and on place. As we can read from the next slide, it is impossible to differentiate life and behaviors when people are connected or disconnected. Some examples about the on-life experience among people could be recognizable within the list that follows. In particular, the on-life concept explains what we can learn by some behaviors and how we can manage them, considering where on-life experience emerges. For instance, it is possible to say that people with a smartphone in the pocket live on life because they integrate their choices in real life, offline, taking decisions in relation to the information they get online. So for this reason, the choices that subjects take in real life are influenced by online activity. For example, getting information by search engines or specialized websites, or simply looking at YouTube tutorials. In smart cities projects, for example, people live connected and integrated with technology and with the advanced services coming from the smart cities. The university is another example for on life, because it is simple to recognize the integration between technology, normal life, and internet services. We have to be careful because not only the online addiction transforms a context in a on-life context. It is necessary to understand if languages, rules, tools, and purpose of each actor involved are integrated and joined. And at the moment, in some universities, some limits occur. And today we try to explain how to overcome them. So it is necessary to pass from an added online experience to an on-life experience. That is possible thanks to the real focus on people and places that have to characterize the traditional universities. Looking at the online universities, the core activities are managed and communicated using the online channel. The context of the study for a student is characterized by the online context, and no influences come from third parties. This kind of university is focused on taught the subjects, focusing efforts in giving contents to the students using the online means. In this kind of university, students have online contacts with professors and limited contacts with other colleagues. On the contrary, the traditional universities present a complex context, influences coming from people, society, opportunities and threats that the real life gives and the students can live. For instance, let's think about the foreigner students having experiences in a country, learning a new language, or understanding and going through the cultural heritage. Simply living the city or the country during its own university life. The value proposition of this kind of university is a sum of propositions that come from diffused knowledge, people frequenting the university and the place where it is possible to experiment limits and opportunities of the city or country, where the university is active. So traditional universities during the pandemic have been pushed to have online experiences, but a SWOT analysis is useful to explain weaknesses to overcome, threats and to control, and opportunities to exploit. So as you can see, this is a shopkeeper, this slide is useful to explain the shopkeeper experience when he needs to go online. Between the weaknesses, it's possible to read lack of capitals to invest in technology for a shopkeeper, the individualism. Shopkeeper considers the web and the e-marketplaces as enemies to fight. Sometimes, especially in Italy, it is common to recognize in some shopkeepers this approach toward the technology and digital means. On the contrary, looking at the market and society scenario, some opportunities emerge. Users are asking for innovation in services, influences generated by technology and resource integration and knowledge creation to share. The service industry well experimented online on-place integration. Passing from the shopkeeper image to the traditional university picture, we can measure the same problems, opportunities and threats. In terms of threats for traditional universities, some cheaper competitions coming from online universities are verified, in particular for universities that have not a great positioning about their university brand. It is the same for weaknesses. The individualism, the unavailability to change, and sometimes the lack of capitals to invest in technology could be found even in traditional universities, like in shopkeepers' markets. It is the same for strengths and opportunities. To overcome the simple application of online approach to the traditional university, it's necessary to plan for a next step that we can call as onlife approach. Universities should be stimulated to consider online activities as a part of their normal value proposition. And it is necessary to use online activity to build strong connection between university, people, and place where university is located. Integration is the need because it is impossible to innovate without include people and their efforts. For this reason, it is impossible to make revolutions without participation. It is briefly represented within the slide, the on-life approach for universities in 3 steps. The first, regulation of intensity in online activity. Second, choose the right software to work, obtain professional outcomes and results. Third, to integrate online activities with the on-place experience, and at the same time, online means should increase the opportunities to recognize the university's value proposition and mission. So each university activity would be integrated by online activity, but every action should be regulated in terms of effective use. For example, it is necessary to organize or record videos and contents, thinking exactly to the online use. Differently, for example, simply taking videos from lectures in presence could give a distorted result because each media should be used considering its own limits and opportunities. That is to say that online lectures should be designed with the characteristics asked by online learning. It is the same in choosing the useful softwares. Softwares should not be costly for students, and it should respect the user-friendly approach, and it should be social network friendly. The step number 3 about the on-life approach underlines the need of integration of goals. Each university stakeholder in the place interested that the university development should contribute in using online means in order to demonstrate that the connection with the place is a value for university, people, and students. An on-life university should integrate stakeholders' experiences in the university knowledge provision in order to create a characterization of knowledge. For instance, integrating the contribution of Italian firms, the university in Italy is able to show the Italian perspective in terms of business and international relationships. It is necessary to always stimulate students to interact with the cultural heritage and with the language of the place, because language and cultural heritage represent the real soul and roots of a country. That is possible integrating online and on-place activities in every moment of the university. In order to apply the on-life approach within the traditional universities, some indications follow. It is necessary to consider to improve the university's value proposition, integrating digital and online technologies within the traditional lectures and laboratory activities. For example, creating specific contents available for students during and after lectures, integrating materials, or for example, creating contents with basic principles or basic information about the subject. It is even interesting to use the online activity to increase the number of connections with students before, during, and after the enrollment at the national and international level. Having contacts with secondary schools, connecting professors with university students, linking ex-students with university, provide free lectures online, create YouTube channels with open and free lectures useful for managers and interested people. Upgrade the traditional university integrating online and on-place within the same strategy. It could be a solution. The digital technology and online activity should be used to have contacts with entrepreneurs, professionals. These subjects could be involved with speeches in order to enrich the topics within the subjects, even avoiding to lose time moving physically toward the university to have an intervention, for example. This could create the need to visit physically the places and the need to be part of real university life, both really and virtually. The online contents should be really well studied by experts, able to know the digital communication and the web contents. Similarly, it's necessary to use online and technology to expand on-place experiences. For example, thinking to integrate virtual reality and augmented reality to everyday physical work. Working on online contents in order to integrate to the on-place activities, it is necessary to involve youngers in defining targets, limits, speech, time, and communication. There are some limits in this approach, and it is possible to say that numerous information and communication opportunities not always are transformed in competencies for people. Not always online and on-place contents generate additional knowledge, even if well organized. Sometimes the multitude of information can stimulate confusion, and for this reason, the human intervention around online contents could be useful in addressing the information and the comprehensions. Increased use of technology and web application generates a relevant role for big ICT companies and their power in addressing companies and university toward the specific needs. So we can say that the on-life approach for universities focused on people, place, and knowledge. For this reason, on-place universities need to be perceived differently by online universities or online addiction, because an on-life approach needs to be designed, developed, applied, and controlled, looking at the strong connection between place participation and university value proposition, and the online value proposition, of course. Students have to perceive that the difference between online university and on-life university is on the enriched and integrated experience characterized by full immersion in the social context of the place where physically the university is built, the opportunity to enjoy the contents of the university through online means completely integrated to the real life and the real stakeholders linked with the university. So, thank you.